Chris, that is a hard-earned point, isn't it?
It is, up against a very direct team. Two players up front, good movement that they play off, and of course when Big Smith comes on, then it's even more of a handful. So yes, I think we had to work hard for that one. Probably the thing I was delighted with the most, I think, is just the reaction to conceding what was a poor goal, I thought, from our point of view. But the reaction from that, and I think it was important that we got back into the game as quick as we could, and we was able to do that.
Yeah, and especially given that, on the run that you've been on of late, once you've conceded the first goal, there hasn't been that response for whatever reason. So to get it within 2 minutes is perfect, really, isn't it?
No, it's perfect, and I think for morale, for lifting the players, I think the only thing that we didn't have in the game is that sometimes in these type of games where it's a battle, you're up against a physical, direct team. You've got to be able to cope with that, and in a lot of these games the game opens up a bit and you get them opportunities, and I think we probably didn't make the most of the periods when it did open, or we had good possession in midfield and probably didn't make the most of it.
You mentioned when Matt Smith came on, and therefore the bombardment's going to get even more. I mean, how pleased were you with the way you see your side as a whole really has defended today? I mean, the back four, yes, but as a team, really. Yeah,
and as a team, you have to. If you've only got a back four defending, it's going to be an even tougher day, I think, against this type of opposition. So no, I think it's from the front. Good for Lewis to get his first start, obviously, for a while, but even Cafu playing as a 10 has got to drop back in and do a defensive role and try and put as much pressure on their two centre halves, because if you don't, that next ball's coming in and it's going to be problems for us. So I think it was a good defensive team effort.
And in the kind of game it was as well, not just the bombardment, but it was hectic, wasn't it? It was frantic out there, not the easiest playing surface. Then the conditions turn against you as well. I mean, it's a real day to dig in and have a bit of a scrap out there.
And these type of games, I think you can get as much from the feel of having to dig deep, of throwing your body in the way of shots, stopping crosses. You can get as much out of that as maybe some of the quality parts of our game, because if you don't do that, then these are a team that are good at it, particularly with these conditions. And probably their conditions they might think suits it the way that they play, just that little bit more. So yeah, they're the pleasing aspects, but getting back in the game so quick was really important.
It was a special moment, of course, for Alex Mighton, who we spoke about in the week. The 18-year-old gets his first senior goal. He'll remember that forever, won't he?
And he will, and we needed it, and I thought it was a fabulous goal. And it just goes to show you, I think he'd been fairly quiet in the game, Alex, and the type of game. Marked him tightly, wasn't really able to get him into spaces where he could get sort of 1v1. So, up until then he'd had a quiet game. But what he did give us is the type of runs that he can. So going from a quiet game, maybe not being so productive, to that one moment that he sensed a long ball running over the back. Lewis had done very well on it as well, but sensing that opportunity, and it's good to get them, I say, players that are prepared to run behind. Wonderful moment for him.
And given what you've said about the kind of game that it was, and I'm sure you expected exactly that kind of game here, credit to him and also Loic So as well as another young player. You kept faith with them, having put them in midweek. Some people might have said, well, that might not be a game for an 18-year-old, but they've come in and they've done the job for you.
Yes, and pleased. I think both of them will learn, I think, a lot from these type of games, and probably, I suppose, with Embasole, particularly the type of game, these type of conditions, that was the question mark, and probably on the goal he could have done better, but these are what you learn from. These are the games that you've got to compete in. If anything, it's a reality check for these young lads, and the levels that you've got to be in, and that's not the levels of quality, that's the levels of competition, and how you've got to be able to compete, and Alex Mighton, even in that wide area, the type of player he is, has got to run back as strong as he runs forward. So really good for these two young ones.
So it's 4 points out of 6. It is the start of a fledgling unbeaten run. You obviously need that to go on as long as you can. But I guess you go into the Christmas period with confidence restored a little bit.
Yeah, I hope so. And obviously back home, Boxing Day, which I think will be nice. And I mean, one thing we've said to them is that we've played against the top 6 and we've fallen short, not massively. We have on points wise, but as regards performance, not massively. But now is probably the next level. You know, we're playing against teams that are not in the top 6. Every game, as we saw today, still a very, very tough game, as was Sheffield Wednesday. But this is a different challenge now, and the challenge is obviously to try and get as many points as we can.
And Christmas week, football-wise, until next Saturday, is a blank week for you. What does Christmas week look like for a Forest player?
Well, the players will have a couple of days off, I think, which is important, but they'll be early, so we'll have a good run into the Birmingham game. As a staff, really good opportunity for us to, you know, do some of the work that's hard to do, reflecting on the games, showing players maybe over these days, Tuesday, Wednesday, some of the video work that we've put together, and so yes, I think it's good, and also for players that have been playing all the games, it's a really good opportunity for a bit of downtime and preparation going into the next game.